Back here on CBS Sports HQ, back here with Matt Norlander, and there has never, ever been a perfect bracket in NCAA tournament history. But we try every year because it's awesome and it's fun and it's the best thing to do at this time of the year is fill out a bracket and see if you can beat your buddies. See if you can win an office pool. See if you can win a little money. See if you can have a little fun. See if you can have bragging rights. Matt is here to help you. Fill out your bracket. We're going to go all the way to the Elite Eight. Then you'll pick your Final Four and your national championship prediction. Let's start in the South where Auburn is the #1 seed.
Obviously, I'm going to have Auburn moving along. By the way, always a thrill, but I hate myself doing this every year so quickly after the bracket comes out. Not a perfect world. Let's get it moving here. I'm going to take Creighton over Louisville. That is a really tight one, but give me Ryan Kalkbrenner to get it done. Let's move on down the bracket and let's get to some chaos right away. Okay, UC San Diego over Michigan. Let's go.
Whoa.
Really good team, top 40. Yeah, Tritons, fork up. Forky out, let's go. Into the second round. Forking into the second round. I will also take Yale to upset Texas A&M because A&M is not a reliable shooting team and actually like Yale's propensity to maybe shut down Wade Taylor IV. Let's keep it moving down. I will go San Diego State to beat UNC and then to beat Ole Miss. Almost every single tournament, we have a team that goes to Dayton and wind up playing at least in the second round. I will also have Iowa State getting past Lipscomb. Moving on to the bottom part of the bracket here, I will go with the Lobos of New Mexico and Richard Pitino with Donovan Dent to get past Marquette in a 10-over-7 upset, and Michigan State not to have too much of an issue with Bryant overall. So those are the teams moving into the second round of the South region. If we go back up to the top here, I've got Auburn playing against Creighton. I think there's a lot of fun and a lot of potential in this matchup. Ryan Kalkbrenner is a heck of a player. It's not just him, though. I will have Auburn moving on, but that smells like a potential second round game with a 1 seed that could have some closeness to it. I will have UC San Diego in its first season ever having eligibility to make the tournament, getting to the Sweet 16. You heard me correctly there. Bottom half. I'll go with the clones. I'll go with TJ Otzelberger's team, no Keyshawn Gilbert. I still think they'll have enough to get past San Diego State. And then Tom Izzo against Richard Pitino. Give me Sparty to get it done there. So you have Michigan State against Iowa State. Both those teams were in the Maui Invitational earlier this season. In the Sweet 16, I like Auburn to get past UC San Diego. No, I am not that gutsy nor that stupid. And then I will have Michigan State moving along past Iowa State to set up an Auburn-Michigan State. Both of those teams were also in the Maui Invitational back in November, the most loaded Maui field ever. All
right, down to the Elite Eight there in the South. Now let's head to the West region where 3 of the 6 30-win teams reside in the West. Florida, the #1 seed, St. John's, and Drake. Take us through what I'm calling the region of death.
Yeah, I'm calling it the region of Hall of Famers because they're all over this bracket. I will go with Florida to get past Norfolk State. Shouldn't have too much of an issue there at the top of this West region. I also think that UConn against Oklahoma, I'm not going to pick against Dan Hurley and the Huskies to lose a game right away. I'm just not going to do it. Give me the Huskies to move along there in Raleigh and get to the weekend. Moving down, I will have Colorado State getting it done against Memphis. That is a super tempting 12-over-5. Nick Clifford has been incredible. Give me the Rams to get it done. Now, the Terps, I think they get past the Lopes. They go ahead and they crawl into the second round, but don't have too much of an issue overall. Give me Maryland to face them. And now we're going to get even more double-digit love going in. I will take Drake and its 30-3 record to get past the Missouri Tigers and move along. Ben McCollum's a great coach. Bennett Sturts has a chance to have a huge moment here on this big stage. Texas Tech doesn't have any issue with UNCW. Red Raiders move along to the second round under Grant McCaslin. Bottom of the screen, Kansas plays Arkansas. I will be there in Providence on Thursday. I will take Kansas to get the job done. They've been inconsistent, so is Arkansas, and then I've got obviously St. John's getting past Omaha, and setting up a matchup between two Hall of Famers.
Of Coach Cal and Rick Pitino.
I know, but I am going to pick the game that I think is going to happen. I will take Kansas to get it done. Going back up to the top, we're going to go with Florida and UConn. I'm going to go with the Gators. I gotta take the Gators. They've been incredible. So UConn's quest for a three-peat ends right then and there in Raleigh. And then I will have Maryland getting past Colorado State, setting up a tremendous Sweet 16 affair in the West. And then on the bottom half, there's going to be chaos, folks. Give me Drake.
Wow.
It's Drake's year. No one thought it possible. Drake's going to get it done. Drake moves along. St. John's gets past Kansas, which means if and when this happens, the streak will continue. Kansas has never made the Sweet 16 in a year in which it was picked preseason #1. I've got that trend continuing. Back up at the top, Florida versus Maryland. You think Florida automatically? Great team? Here we go. 1 seed going down. Give me the Terps, the Crab 5, Derek Queen, Jacoby Gillespie. This isn't going to be a popular pick. It's a value pick, and that's why I'm going with it. And I will also go with St. John's to get past Drake, giving us a 2-4 matchup in the West Regional Final.
So Maryland and St. John's in the Elite 8 out of the West. What a region that is. It's going to be tough to navigate that. Now let's head to the East region where Duke is the top overall seed there. Expected to have Cooper Flagg back for the tournament, nursing that left ankle sprain. Let's get into the East region. Duke trying to get back to the Final Four.
Let's go. East region. I actually think, my expectation, I think Cooper Flagg will play in the first round.
Okay.
I think that's where we're going to be. Duke moves along, obviously without much resistance. Baylor is the more tempting pick here, but I'm going to go Mississippi State. I actually like them a lot. By the way, shouts to our incredible team here behind the scenes at CBS Sports HQ. I love this graphic presentation overall. You can really see the confidence and self-loathing on my face as I pick us through this bracket. I will go with Oregon to beat Liberty. I don't think Liberty has a chance, which means you know what to do, folks. Go with Liberty. I will take Arizona over Akron. I just like the way that Tommy Lloyd's roster stacks up against the Zips, although the Zips only 1 loss in the year 2025, but I'll go Arizona. BYU VCU has the best potential, I think, of any 6-11 game on the board, and I'm including the 6-11 games we don't know will happen yet because of the first 4 matchups that have to be decided on Tuesday, Wednesday. But give me the Cougars there. Kevin Young's done a really nice job in year 1. Wisconsin over Montana without too much hesitation. On my end, we'll keep it scrolling down. I will take St. Mary's. You know what? I think St. Mary's is going to have a convincing win over Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's had a nice season, but I think that St. Mary's is a much better team, and they win without much doubt on the board. And then Bama to get past Robert Morris. Andy Toole's done a wonderful job there, getting Bobby Moe back into the tournament for the 2nd time in his 15-year career running that program. But I like Bama overall. We scoot on back to the top half of the bracket. Duke versus Mississippi State. I don't think it'll be too much of a trouble here. I think Duke moves along. Keep an eye, by the way, on Malik Brown. He's had a shoulder issue. What is his availability going to be? He's actually Duke's best all-around defender. I think his involvement actually will determine whether or not Duke can win a national championship. I have Arizona beating Oregon. I love this Pac-12 flavor in the 2nd round immediately there. Give me Wildcats over Ducks. On the bottom half, I will go with BYU over Wisconsin, primarily, although this game could be a race to 90. A lot of good offensive potential there. I will go with Saunders and co to get that done. St. Mary's and Bama, I will go with Alabama in this one. I was tempted to take St. Mary's, but I have other bigger plans in mind. Nado's team gets it done. By the way, I'm doing this with the expectation that Grant Nelson will be pretty good to go. If we are to find out Monday, Tuesday that his situation is much more dire, then whatever, toss them out and we'll start over again. I will take Duke over Arizona in the Sweet 16. Just Duke and Arizona in the NCAA Tournament game gets the juices flowing. It's awesome. We love to see that. And I will take Alabama and its scoring over BYU. Maybe a game to 100. Let's go. Let's have a great one there. And then, folks, I'm going to go Alabama. I'm going to go Alabama over Duke once we get to the Final Four. But that is a tease. That is a tease for later in the show. I'll give you a little taste before we do the big old reveal.
A 1-2 matchup there in the East as Duke looks to get back to a Final Four. Alabama was in the Final Four just 1 year ago. Houston, a 1 seed for the 3rd season in a row. They're the #1 seed in the Midwest. Matt, you know I love the Cougars, and they've got a first-round matchup against the Cougars.
That's true. It is UH versus SUE, SIUE, SIU Eds versus Will. I've got Houston moving along without much resistance whatsoever. And then we get to Gonzaga versus Georgia. A battle of the Bulldogs going down. I like Gonzaga to get this done. I don't think they're going to have too much resistance against Georgia. They obviously rate much, much better in the metrics overall. Give me the Zags to move along. Bumping on down. These games are going to go down in Providence. I'll be there in person on Thursday to witness it. Clemson versus McNeese. You've got Brad Brownell, who has been rumored to maybe be the Indiana next coach. I don't think that's going to happen. I do think he's going to beat McNeese and Will Wade, who might be the next coach at NC State. We'll see on that. I like Clemson to get it done. And then Purdue High Point. I will take Purdue in this spot. I think Trey Coffin-Wren's going to have himself a nice game. Alan Huss has done a really good job. He's yet another coach who I think could be getting a serious look at other jobs over the next week or so. Go on down the line in this bracket. I will have Xavier beating Texas. I find Xavier to be a much more reliable team. And not only that, I will have Xavier moving along to beat Illinois in a very good head coaching matchup there. I have Kentucky getting past Troy without too much of resistance. Mark Pope, going to get his first NCAA tournament win later this week. And then as for the bottom portion of the bottom right of your bracket in the Midwest region, I've got Utah State over UCLA. I do think that the Mountain West is going to show itself relatively well in this tournament. And then Tennessee shouldn't have too much trouble against Wofford. That one, honestly, that feels like a comfortable 18, 20-point win to me overall. As we scoot on back up, let's look at the teams that I think are going to make it to the second weekend and into the regional semis in the Midwest. Houston Gonzaga could be phenomenal. And I mean phenomenal. It could be one of the 4 or 5 best games of the entire tournament. I will go with Houston. It is the better team. Gonzaga has come up short often this season against some of the best teams it has faced. I'll have Houston moving along, and then I will have Purdue beating Clemson. Hakeem, this was one of the toughest second-round calls I have in my entire bracket. I will go with Purdue to get to the second weekend, and doing so a year removed, of course, of making it all the way to the national title game. There is no Zach Edey, but guess what? There's still a first-team All-American on that roster. His name is Braden Smith. Bottom half of the bracket. Xavier versus Kentucky. Sean Miller versus Mark Pope. A lot of fun potential here. I will go with Kentucky. It's got the better overall roster, but Ryan Conwell, if you told me he averaged 31.5 points through 2 games for Xavier in this tournament, I would believe you instantly. I have Tennessee beating Utah State with Jemai Mashak and Zakai Ziegler leading the way. Chaz Lanier, obviously also a very, very good player and the big shot maker for them. I like Tennessee to move along, and that means, yes, we have an SEC rematch going down. It's going to be inevitable when you've got 14 teams from that league on the board. And then as we look at who's going to play in the Elite Eight, no Final Four teases here for me. I only gave you one. That's all you get. I will have Houston moving along to Purdue, beating Purdue, and then I will have Kentucky over Tennessee, offense beating defense. And I am making this specifically because I think if Lamont Butler is healthy enough, they've got the depth, they've got the style of play, I will trust Kentucky to get it done this season. They've been a good team that's beat a lot. They've been a good team that's beat a lot of good teams. And when these teams met earlier this season, Kentucky and Tennessee, they lost both of them. I'm going for the Kentucky three-peat over the Vols this year.
Matt Norlander just put on a bracket clinic right there.
I love it, man.
He filled out his bracket all the way to the Elite Eight in under 10 minutes right there. Sometimes people pour hours over their bracket. Who am I going to pick? Am I going to pick a logo? Am I going to pick a mascot? Matt just gave you a ton of insight right there to pick your bracket, and he's about to give you a ton of insight on the latest edition of the Eye on College Basketball podcast.
It's one of the best shows every year. Gary Parrish and I, we're doing an overnight Selection Sunday recap. This is the show to listen to for instant reaction, our thoughts, our intel. We have a blast. You can find it wherever you get your podcast, YouTube, the whole deal. We will have you covered. Anything you're thrilled about, you're furious about, I promise you, we're going to touch on every single point of this bracket. I can't wait. Download, subscribe, find us right now.